peplum and the ruffle. I'm looking at the top because, ladies, we all know you show first in the boobs.
You do. Your boobs get bigger. But guys, like, this was one angle. This picture is one angle. Anyone that was there says that she did not look pregnant.
Harry and Meghan fell into the spotlight where every gesture and word was scrutinized under the public microscope. A shocking secret was suddenly revealed, shocking the whole world. Harry, in a moment of carelessness, accidentally revealed the story of Meghan Markle's fake pregnancy. It's true that nothing lasts forever. If you do something bad, it will eventually be exposed. If you want people to not know unless you don't do it. Harry had no need to expose any of his wife's lies. Any of us, especially ladies who have been pregnant and delivered, is quite sure Harry's wife never carried their child and never gave birth. The main clue was the phony bump, which she either left in the closet or strapped too high, clearly seen one day, gone the next, or stuck at the hem of her calf-length purple dress and red coat combo, about to tumble on the ground. Harry related how his wife had an epidural, and then soon after delivery was up and about going into a bath. What a hero. Any woman who has an epidural knows she can't walk for hours since an epidural numbs the body from the injection site down. Harry's wife believes she knows everything and is sure we are quite dumb. She does not know this. Harry also missed all of this since it never happened. I saw him only repeating what his wife advised him. Harry's wife relates stories of her alleged pregnancies that show she never carried a pregnancy. The story of the miscarriage is a stupid, absurd narrative created to win sympathy and cast blame on the British royal family for mistreating her, and of course, racism. Harry and his wife chronicle a foolish tale of woe about visiting the hospital, having a miscarriage, and returning home the same evening with a tiny package of their poor dead kid, which they buried in their garden yard. And none questioned Harry or his wife. Harry is a blank slate, sadly, and he accepts whatever garbage mom gives him, and none will contest either of them. Actually, the media fosters the fiction and reports this stupidity without question. Anyone who has experienced a miscarriage and any medical practitioner working on an obstetrics unit is rather clear-cut that the miscarriage occurrence as described by Harry and his wife is pure bull-dollar hit, all total. Any refutes of this absurdity? Clearly not. This is only a handful of the evidence supporting Harry's wife's absence of pregnancy and miscarriage, as well as, should a kid result, it was not born of the body of her. Though Harry and his wife make claims and assertions about babies, toddlers, and children that are obviously the fiction of individuals who have never cared for a newborn, raised a toddler, etc., there may be a child delivered via surrogacy, and it is only the tip of the iceberg, the pack of lies Harry and his wife create. Harry did not accidentally expose the swindle his wife runs. She did. Yes, I say that I was calling her Heartlyn, but yes, that's the fake Lily bit. And the fake Archie is a boy named Gavin Gringus. Harry and Meghan lie to no end. They are not surrogates either. They biologically belong to those parents. Meghan and Harry can't touch them without the real parents' permission. After a vaginal birth, the mother is not allowed to take a bath, just a shower, sitting on a shower chair with a nurse present to ensure safety. But with the epidural, a bath would not have been possible. That woman is full of it. As far as the miscarriage goes, she would not have been able to walk out of the hospital with the remains. She is so stupid. Someone saw her carrying a bag after visiting a dental office which was behind the hospital. This bitch is a pathological liar. Meghan has never been pregnant, but lied twice about being pregnant with Archie and Lilibet. I am extremely angry about this. This is not only ridiculous, but also a huge insult to everyone who trusted and supported her. Faking a pregnancy is not only an act of personal deception, but also a betrayal of the trust of the public and fans. The images and stories built around the pregnancy have made many people feel emotional and connect with Meghan, only to discover that it was all an act. This action of Meghan not only damaged her reputation but also caused serious consequences for the royal family, raising a series of questions about the sincerity and authenticity of her statements. Her actions. Those who once admired and loved her will certainly feel deeply betrayed and disappointed. Women around the world have felt sympathy and shared joy with Meghan through every stage of her pregnancy, from maternity photos to public appearances. But now, when the truth is exposed, they are not only hurt but also feel cruelly deceived. This is not only a story about personal deception, but also a lesson about the importance of honesty and public responsibility. Meghan's actions have gone beyond the ridiculous. becoming a symbol of betrayal and deception. Meghan's actions of lying about being pregnant with Archie and Lilibet are not just ridiculous, but also sinful and unethical. Using the topic of children as a joke is an unforgivable insult. Children are precious and sacred gifts from God. To use them as a tool to attract attention is a terrible and cruel deception. Those who can do such things not only lose the trust and respect of the public, but also deserve to be strongly condemned. This behavior is not only a betrayal of the trust of fans, but also an insult to all who value and honor the importance of family and children. Those who use children to deceive and attract attention will soon face the consequences of their actions. Karma will catch up with them, and the punishment for them is inevitable. Such unethical actions can never last long without a price to pay. I've often been stunned by the categoric nonsense Harry shares with the media. For example, he talked about how his wife had an epidural, gave birth, and then right after climbed into a bath for a long soak. You may know as I do, no woman who has an epidural is up and about, much less in the bath, for several hours after the epidural. I think she, never having had the experience, makes it up as she goes, and he was kept out of the room, perhaps on advice that she didn't want to damage his sex goddess image of her. He is naive enough to believe it, and too stupid to know or think anything other than what she tells him. The pride and sincerity with which he told the media this story of his amazing wife made me think he truly believes her, and all the other horse manure she shovels his way. Another tale of lies was when he said holding the baby or doll reveals their lies. He said how 2 weeks, baby changed their looks. Maybe he was trying to say he heard baby's facial change in 2 weeks. He was stumbling for words and probably thought no one caught what he said. You can hear and see all those continuing lies that can't catch a rest with those two scammers, and his story about using all the gas and air himself. That definitely wouldn't have happened. The sacco crap that Meghan spews forth is repeated by her obedient puppet without fact-checking as to its veracity, and, as usual, the grifters look like imbecilic liars. Yet they never learn from their embarrassing mistakes. Harry also perpetuates the fraud. I'm surprised that this cognitive dissonance hasn't already brought him close to a breakdown. Maybe he uses alcohol and drugs to silence his emotional turmoil. IDK where this story will go next. There are no children except the imaginary children Meghan and Harry use to flesh out her ridiculous stories. I am quite sure a pregnant woman couldn't wear and walk on those stiletto heels or squat down like she did. I've asked women who have been pregnant if that were likely, and those who answered said no. Especially Meghan had a hysterectomy when she was 29. That information came directly from her father. He said it many times very vocally. I really don't care if she had the children or not, because if they are being good parents to those children by providing the love, care, and everything else that comes with being a parent, that's what's important. 2 children that otherwise would be have been put in a foster care situation. So in fact, she wasn't pregnant. They will never be king or queen in England, so it doesn't much matter. Leaving the children, if they exist, time and again, while they flit about the world on private jets trying to get media attention is not being caring parents. Harry said in an interview, when Archie was supposedly born that morning, he was amazed how much the baby changed in 2 weeks. They can't even get their stories straight. Certainly Meghan is a serial liar. Meghan hoodwinks Harry and he just follows his wife's antics, with strict rules. Meghan's wrath is worse than a root canal without anesthesia. 2 lost souls, failing at every project. These unsubstantial ventures are worthless. In a nutshell, their narratives boil down to a stinky pot of unleashed illusions of grandeur on steroids. Pity those who get in their way. Destruction ensues. Meghan loses more so-called friends and family support. Self-preservation prevails. The truth is overlooked by perception. Don't blame anyone. They are attacked because they are liars who believe that everyone is stupid except themselves. The struggle bus and the we us US nonsense are very tiring. Everyone is sick to death with their ongoing embarrassment to the Crown, the UK, and the world. The following is a sharing from a mother who witnessed her daughter go through a time of life and death and successfully give birth. My daughter had an epidural and a C-section. It was horrible to watch her go through the recovery of the birth. Between her being sick to her stomach with a headache and her not being able to walk was very hard for me as her mother to watch, and I could not help her. When I gave birth naturally, I know I was not able to walk normally. That's why they use wheelchairs when discharged from the hospital. I doubt I could have walked on 3-inch heels, much less with my hips swinging from side to side wearing a white dress. His belly was still up around her breast, and it was crooked. I don't envy the royal women who are required to get all dolled up and have to have people taking photos of me after enduring hours of labor and childbirth. However, I don't believe Meghan was pregnant with Archie. No one saw her while she was pregnant with Lily. There were no pap shots of her pregnant with Lily. Then the doctor who delivered Lily closed up shop and has not been heard from since then. I guess the pregnancies are riddled with suspicion and are not what normal FA lies experience. Then Harry shows up in front of some horse stall to give the announcement that the baby is born and is home with Mom. Was the baby born in the horse stalls? Not normal. To see no one is a fool for Meghan to deceive any way she wants. She's not even smart and has very little experience in pregnancy, so don't try to beat everyone. She was wrong. She was the stupid one. Everyone knows she is lying, but she thinks she has succeeded in deceiving everyone. It's ridiculous. She should study more to become more professional at cheating. Mad. I read that she crashed the Inskip wedding to tell Harry she was pregnant. It was said when in Australia that the staff overheard them yelling and he wanted to know, was she ever pregnant? Then there were the infamous moon bump photos. The fact that she refused the official OB/GYN doctors, used a different hospital for the birth, and no witnesses signed the birth certificate. Add to this, Kensington Palace issued an announcement that the couple used a surrogate, a post very quickly deleted. She also did something very un-Markle-like. She never talked about the pregnancy, no stories about morning sickness, cravings, etc., and said not one word about her labor and delivery. Everyone knows she uses every opportunity to talk about her feelings and her truth, God help us, but not one word about the pain of childbirth. What do you think? For crying out loud, every reason. The yacht whore had a hysterectomy, didn't tell her fiancé, told him she was pregnant to force the Queen to give them a rushed fancy wedding to rival William's and Catherine's, even to the extent they forced Princess Beatrice and Ito's wedding to be postponed. Faked a miscarriage just before the wedding, and after the wedding, poor sap Harry was heard to have yelled at her, "You mean you were never pregnant?" His fate was sealed, and he and the tramp had to produce children to cement their marriage, to compete with his brother, and to save face, while the witch needed to make herself royal forever by producing royal babies for Harry. They couldn't pull off fake babies and rented children growing up next door to the Cambridge kids, so moving to the USA was the only way to keep the Invisikids away from all the royals. That's why. Only about 1 million reasons why? I suspect a few people know the truth behind Meghan's pregnancies. What is without doubt very strange is that this is a woman who thinks she is an expert on everything, loves playing the victim and being in the spotlight, yet she has not once talked about, lectured about, shared the experience of giving birth. Absolutely ridiculous. I have never met anyone as cruel and evil as Meghan. Moreover, why aren't the kids ever on vacation with them? Harry and Meghan are always in other countries or states away from their 2- and 4-year-old. Anything can happen. Anything does happen. If some freak accident happens, their kids won't see their faces. If some crazy earthquake hit California and Harry and Meghan are on vacation in another country, they definitely won't be able to do anything for the kids they love. As narcissistic and power-hungry Thatchican legs, should it was real childbirth, she could have contacted truckload of paparazzi for pictorial, caught on fire again and again. The 2 children zero genetic resemblance to Grandma Doria or Meghan Markle. Those children were not born of biracial mothers, obviously. They are always lying. Meghan has lied her whole life, it won't stop now. Meghan's pregnant holding onto her air-pumped belly made it hard to miss. Plus all the photos of her at her fake shower. Then later that night, no bump, and out with Marcus, the photos of her on Netflix pregnant looked like a torpedo. Plus, you aren't huge month 2, then flat on the 5th. Those kids deserve better than being hidden so Mom can use them for a buck. It's stupid. The tales regarding Meghan's kids irritate me greatly. It lasts a long period, but it also affects the royal family, more especially Catherine. Garcelle Beauvais, Meghan Markle's acquaintance, called Catherine's missing Lilibet's first birthday shady. Lilibet celebrated her first birthday in the UK, but Kate and Prince William missed it while they were supervising the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee concert rehearsals. For Lilibet's birthday, Meghan and Harry threw a small gathering at Frogmore Cottage devoid of royal attendance, including Kate, William, and their children. Once more, without any royal family members present, Meghan and Harry had a celebration at their Californian estate for Lilibet's 3rd birthday. Meghan still keeps a close friend in her past, which surprises many people and begs many questions about whether that person is truly intelligent enough to identify Meghan's actual nature. Perhaps the person simply didn't want to see the fact that Meghan might not be who they thought she was, or they were dazzled by the spotlight and unfair compliments from the media. Meghan might keep this contact with her pal since they engage in the keeping secret game together. While some would say these individuals like the rush of vying for attention, this also means they travel a dangerous voyage together. I wish to know whether those two remain friends today. Haha. Maybe even Meghan and her friend are depending on each other to keep a picture of perfection, trying to cover their dishonest sides and unworthy behavior. Maintaining this friendship might become crucial in their world for survival in the entertainment industry and for preserving a good image. Meghan's companion at the time was still trying to get favor. Thus, she had the bravery to attack our dear Princess Catherine, since Meghan and she may provide some advantages to her. There is no specific data indicating the kid known as Lilibet visited the UK at the time. Celebrating the late Queen's Jubilee, a historically significant and respectful occasion, the Welsh family was in Wales. This is personal for them. It has nothing to do with the life of others, particularly well-known celebrities like actors. Why then is a star like her becoming interested in these concerns? She might be acting for personal purposes or aims. Perhaps she wants public exposure or attention to help her improve her reputation. Alternatively, she could be engaged in this discussion with reference to her reputation or forthcoming projects. Since the pilot denied any child on board the aircraft returning from the US, neither did the flight manifest mention any children. Arriving in the UK, guessed by Magic Invisid. Catherine was out of town, you should know, visited Wales for a weekend honoring the Platinum Jubilee of the late Queen. It was scheduled at least a year ahead to honor the monarch's historic 70-year rule. It was not cancelled since the Harkles, who had only lately chosen to go, set up a last-minute celebration just to cause trouble knowing full well nobody could make it. It truly was a setup since Miss and Harriman's pictures were all phony, and it seems almost clear the child wasn't even in London at the time. Markle's companion appears to be virtually ignorant, and I would say she shares Megsy's degree of hate. Her career is not exactly outstanding either. Clearly, Catherine and William's Jubilee schedule was arranged months in advance. Harry and Meghan did not confirm they would be in attendance, presumably with their children, until only a few days prior. So no, a plane could not have been delayed. The days after the Jubilee celebrations could have been set aside if Harry and Meghan had truly intended a celebration including family members. The youngster could not have realized the difference. Alternatively, is it all a plot of that insane couple? Catherine was and still is a working royal, stationed in different parts of the nation. William and Catherine were in Wales with their children employed for the Queen, as it happens. Knowing this, Harry and Meghan proceeded with the celebration regardless, so they could claim no one showed up. Not to mention Meghan, who insisted on a wedding date that conflicted with the birth date of Prince Louis around the same time, and also offended the princess regarding the fit of Princess Charlotte's dress. Actually all the girls' dresses who were to be in the wedding party, while planning her wedding. Let's face it, Lily especially is not a royal. Her parents did not provide the written document signed by medical attendants of either child's birth from Rachel's body. Therefore, until this evidence as per royal procedure is supplied, they aren't formally royal, a prince or princess, or in line of succession. Time King Charles corrected the records. Indeed, Meghan's great self-importance is a tremendous fantasy. She considered pre-arranged activities during our late Queen's Platinum Jubilee to be less significant than a phony Lilybuck's birthday. Particularly since all members of the royal family knew how much Harkles harmed our Queen by trademarking her very personal name in the US without her permission. Certainly, who gives a damn what any actual housewife of any place believes? Never even heard of the woman. Should she believe that the Queen's family would be absent from their intended Jubilee celebrations to attend the first birthday celebration of a child they had never met, she then has quite obviously something wrong with her. With this couple, I am utterly powerless. I also give up on Meghan's foolish pal, living in that environment with dad with mental health issues, with dad talking every night to his deceased mother and her plotting her next move. Are there any lengths that they too will not sink? God help those kids, if they exist. Not a loving place to be. Not one person I know either finds or is looking for Catherine's flaws. She is greatly admired. Go to Montecito if you wish to discover flaws. You will find what you are looking for. Regarding celebrating a birthday, nobody bothers about a child they do not know since the parents forbid you from seeing them. Go over the Harry Markle blog. That's exactly on. Actually, events seem as though the child might not have had a birthday celebration or might not have been in England at that period. Pictures were captured and instantly went on media coverage. Not one senior royal was here, no one. After how the Harkles had treated the Queen and Philip and their horrible Oprah interview, no way was the future Queen going to behave as if everything was just fine. Catherine avoided the Harkles in the cathedral, and there is no evidence she spoke with either of them the whole 3-day Jubilee weekend. Actually, there is no proof Catherine has contacted Meghan since the Harkles left the royal family more than 4 years ago. Not at all, though the two women were in close proximity to one another at several of the festivities. You will not even see her acknowledge Meghan's presence during the Queen's burial or activities preceding it. Unless you cross the royal family, our future Queen is gentle, pleasant, and highly gregarious. Then, as the adage goes, the worst thing that can happen to a business or public person in Britain, hoping to have a relationship with the Crown, is to land on the wrong side of the Princess of Wales. None will work with Meghan. All the fashion businesses absolutely agree. Can anyone personally attest to having seen her? The glazing bars and Harriman's party photos were obviously not taken at Frogmore Cottage. Given the party happened following the Oprah interview, why would Kate want to participate, particularly considering she was in Cardiff and busy? Though there is no evidence of her identity, quite a few papers have images of the red-haired child. She has long been said to be Rebecca, though. The birthday fell after the Oprah Winfrey interview. Prince Philip had passed a few months earlier. The late Queen was having trouble walking, thus all the Jubilee celebrations were supervised by the now King and William and Catherine. But why pick on Catherine? Nobody else was present, but we all know why it was Catherine. The same reason the sugars on here go for her. MM is so jealous of her, so curry favor, for they idle, no mistake in spelling. These so-called friends ought to know that royal activities are scheduled many months ahead and that the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebration was occurring at the time. Engaged on the day of Lilibet's party, the Prince and Princess of Wales were expected to discard the events so they could attend a hurriedly planned party for a 1-year-old. Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching our video. And I want to know what you think about these issues. Please express your opinion in the comments below. Hope you will always be cheerful and happy. Don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye and see you again in the next videos.